Demonic screaming in Harnett County, North Carolina. This is the second time I've heard it now. The first time I heard it I was closer and I swear it sounded like it came straight from the woods across from my house. I live in the rural part of Harnett County, North Carolina. I live on an 11-acre farm and have farms and houses right across the street from me. There is also a patch of woods right there as well, although it's not very big and most of it is taken up by a pond. My neighbors in front of me have animals, donkeys, cows, etc., but these screams sound nothing like any of those animals. I own donkeys as well and am well accompanied to their sounds. The screams sound like a mix between a woman and an animal. Some people have suggested that they might be mountain lions or other animals in heat, but here's the weird part. It sounds like there's multiple. It'll start out as one and not long after you'll hear more all coming from the same area with the same sound just a little bit behind. There's no way it's an animal unless we have a pack of female lions or foxes roaming the forest in the middle of cold but winter all in heat. I honestly cannot describe the sound of these screams. It's like nothing I've ever heard before, and the fact that there is multiple at the same time is even more bizarre. I don't believe in monsters or ghosts or banshees, so I have no idea what these are and I don't feel like finding out either. Demons maybe? Whack jobs. But why would demons roam the earth?
Can we get audio recording please?
They do it sporadically, possibly only on cold nights like tonight. I don't usually carry my phone around, but I'll try. It's freaky.
Did it sound like this? Foxsound.mp3.
I'm trying to remember. It kinda sounded like this, but very long and drawn out, and like I said in original post, it sounded like there were multiple all coming from the same area.
You mean this boy? Yeah.
Заткнись. Что ты будешь? Какой-то хуеплёс он тебя прикалывает. Ага, прикалывается. Я тебе говорю, ты еще не знаешь, ты с чем сталкиваешься.
Say hi to your local crawler, Anon.
That was me, sorry.
They are a generally demonic race. Some are intelligent and do worship God. Most of them are savage barbarians that will eat you if you go alone at night at the wrong time and place. Mimicry, hypnosis, faster than some cars, and very territorial. After getting audio, try plotting on a map printed from the internet or from a local atlas where the sounds approximately are coming. There are archives online of animal sounds that can be compared, and you can talk to the NC Department of Natural Resources for insight. If you do investigate, ask the neighbor ahead of time if you can search the suspected areas. Gather as much data as you can from the area, and bring a notepad and compass with you. If anything paranormal is there, some claim abnormal magnetic fields accompany said phenomenon. Please be careful, and if you feel as though something feels unnatural and wrong, I recommend carrying a walking stick, one that has food oil and salt rubbed into it. Keeps the salt on the walking stick, as a portable barrier, shield. Sage smoke, and possibly the essence and smell, haven't tested myself yet, is also said to deter malevolent entities. If before entering you declare your intentions, over 90% of the time anything present should be fine.
The screams sound like a mix between a woman and an animal. Hot. Keep me posted.
Since November, I've been feeling off. It's tough to pin down or explain it, but I've been feeling more and more that things are out of place. Family and friends are acting differently, things at the store suddenly seem different, even the news events seem slightly different in tone since November. It's been weirding me out, but nothing in particular that I can put a finger on. I've been feeling confused lately, so I've been watching some old films. Eventually, I wanted to watch a Miyazaki film I used to own in college. I couldn't think of the name, so I tried looking it up. I've searched through the IMDb list of Miyazaki and Studio Ghibli films and turned up nothing. I began searching keywords and got nothing. I know for a fact that this film exists. And I half expect someone to find it for me and then I'll look like an idiot. But that's fine because I've sort of become obsessed with finding this movie.
OP then describes the movie in great detail. Did not read all of that, but I do remember a Miyazaki movie involving several flying steampunk-looking airships. My memory is pretty vivid because I watched it with a lot of other people, and I remember it being in autumn because I was eating a typical food that you buy in autumn in my country. I've got enough details to be sure that it's not a false memory, but I can't really pinpoint the name, but at least you're not the only one remembering it.
I know it exists. It's driving me insane being able to remember tons of scenes but not being able to remember the film.
It could have been a focus group screening, or something restricted to a small district of Japan. I remember they used to do that stuff with songs on the radio. They'd play a song on the radio constantly, but only in one small country in America. If the song did good and became popular, the music executives would push that song onto every radio station in the country. But if the song didn't do good, it'd vanish into obscurity, and nobody but that one small country would ever know about it. I forget what song that happened with, but some guy did a whole deep dive investigation, trying to find this lost missing song from his childhood that didn't exist, and discovered this practice.
Did you own a physical copy of the movie or some digital version? If it was a controlled screening, that would be able to tell us if it was hidden from you or not, as a digital copy could have been wiped. If it was a physical copy though, that complicates things a bit.
Remember, Nips were experiencing the Mandela effect as well with the Spirited Away Phantom ending. If I recall correctly, Miyazaki himself denied the Phantom ending of it. It's in the video I linked. They reenacted the scenes, but in Minecraft, there were many Nips discussing and saying that they remember such. Link several videos. But that's just about it that I can find on this topic.
Can I materialize physical objects if I think about it hard enough?
Always. Not so much thinking hard, but believing hard.
Yes, but you will never materialize a woman into existence.
Women are objects, luckily.
No. Get a job.
It took a bit on the ethereal planes, but I located you. I am going to materialize a duck in your bum next time you sleep.
The basic answer is yes, but there are three approaches to this question. 1. It's what Anon 30,904,513 talks about. 2. This one is based on the assumption that reality is just your brain compressing sensory inputs and then projecting a final image. If this is true, then you can make yourself hallucinate objects and it would be the same as if they were really there. 3. I think this is the answer you are looking for. How to actually create a physical object with your mind. It can be done through sheer force of will, and it's not easy. There is a catch, however. When practicing this, it's very easy to put yourself into a semi-psychosis, thinking that your hallucinations are becoming real. This is because manifesting objects is impossible without a proxy to concentrate your intention. This proxy has to be partly physical, partly made by your force of will. Impregnate a hen.
This photo is creepily weird. It isn't even edited or anything, but it gives me an unsettling vibe I can't fully express in words. I can't look at it for more than a few moments before closing it out of fear. It just feels wrong and I can't explain why. Deep down, I feel like something is coming to hurt me, and it's hiding right inside this picture. This is just a normal photo took with a smartphone or something, but it's still terrifying to me for reasons I don't fully know. Any help?
This place reminds you of an authority figure, most likely a father, uncle, that may or may have not emotionally, physically or sexually abused you in your infant years or beyond, and you just feel fear. Or maybe it's the fact it's an office for some soulless work that looks like it was made shift to fit work from home stuff. And it makes you feel anguish because one should separate his home from his workspace. Dude, it's because the game table and desk aren't aligned with the wall, so it tricks your brain into feeling like that the gaping black hole in the wall is misaligned and facing towards you. It's a little optical illusion.
What stopped them from finishing painting the wall, or is it that they started painting white around that ominous exhaust hole and something made them stop? But what?
Why the frick am I having a hard time breathing looking at this picture?
Might be worth mentioning, it appears the soccer game thing got apparently temporarily moved near the desk. Like it had to be taken out of another room so that collapsible tables could be put in. And any chairs in the room are out of frame, probably taken to the long room that the game table was removed from. Yeah, there's no chairs. Also, I'm trash at picking up vibes. Sad. Also, it took ridiculously long to dig up this recently shared cursed photo.
Someone else swears up and down this photo contains a malevolent energy. I now see that there's loads of visible moss or ivy on the house closest to the camera. They're all probably completely uninhabitable and junkies probably shoot up in there, and urbexers might not be the most respectful. But what comes to mind for me when I look at this photo, is I recall times I'd go on long walks. And when I'd stand in certain areas with buildings built in particular decades past. And I had a specific perspective where modern new things are out of view, and all I can see is the old stuff. I feel like I've gone into another time dimension zone, somehow. Pick for contrast.
You were right to be afraid, OOP. There is no chair for the desk that computers are sitting on. This wouldn't be a problem, except you can see they're plugged in. Why would a desk with computers on it not have a chair to sit on? The desk is a solid, one-piece wooden desk which is very heavy and hard to move. What is the white napkin towel underneath it? Why is it there, and how is it still white despite the desk and monitors being old, as shown by the dirt and scratch marks? There are 3 different monitor types, except there are only 2 keyboards and no mouse for any of them. Also, the tan one is placed to create the illusion of being either in front of or behind the second monitor. One of the desk drawers has a lock on it, nothing wrong, as the other 3 also has a place to place a lock, although the second one is missing, except the way the lock is placed on the first one would not prevent it from being opened. The desk is flush with the wall, but the box containing cables and wires to the top right is not. It is pointed directly in front, much like the black hole on the adjacent wall. There is also a trailing blue cat cable in the left square underneath that disappears into the listello and into the metal beam supporting this box. There is also no noticeable glass or plexiglass covering for the front of the box, which is standard on any one. The other wall is not set at 90-degree angle, as shown by the listello and baseboard at the bottom left of the picture, the corner line where the 2 walls meet, and the box is pushed against it behind the foosball table. It is set at an obtuse angle, possibly 115. There is a strange machine that looks like it should have a phone attached to the right, but it is missing. There's also a gooseneck microphone that appears to be either going under, on top of, or behind the foosball table.
The mysterious hole has white paint surrounding it, contrasting against the pale and faded yellow of the walls, in the shape of a ghost holding onto it. You can see the head, the long arms, and trailing wisp underneath, like it is wearing a robe. Finally, there's the foosball table itself. On any foosball table, you should be able to see the metal ends sticking out from the other side. On this one, you cannot. The shadows and reflections don't match the players, which also brings up the fact you cannot see the light source in the photograph. There are no holes on either side of the table to place the ball in to begin play. Finally, and most importantly of all, how are you supposed to retrieve the ball after scoring if there is no net to take it out of? TLDR, whoever took this picture can go to hell and frick themselves on the way there. Am I the only one who can see something that looks like a face in the box on the right? The cables form an eye.
I want to analyze this room for a bit. The computer setup is clearly outdated and haphazardly put together. The lack of mouse is quite perplexing too. The setup is seemingly professional in nature, so the multi-monitor setup isn't too out of the ordinary. The two keyboards imply that there could have been two people working on the systems, but the desk only fits one person and there aren't any chairs around. Also, since the equipment is outdated and seems to be second-hand, implies that whoever worked there either couldn't or refused to buy newer equipment. Or maybe whatever field they were working on required some very specific things from the setup. The lack of mouse is still weird, especially since everything is plugged in and receiving power, but you can technically use a computer with just keyboard. The box on the right does imply that it might have something to do with server infrastructure, and the machine below it, with the Riello logo, seems to be some sort of a PSU for servers? The room could be a private server set up for someone to display their private movies perhaps. The fuzzball table, however, implies that whoever works there or otherwise uses that space needed some way to spend some time with his pals. This would mean that they would experience long days with slow traffic there. So doing something that would allow them to not get bored while still remaining vigilant and next to the setup means that the fuzzball table is in the range of possibilities. Perhaps it is some kind of a monitor station? Something where they had to oversee some instrument with a constant stream of data. Behind the fuzzball table there seems to be some kind of a conference set up, in front of the boxes, or attached to them. Is a strange machine that looks like a phone. Sadly there isn't any logo visible, so I can't Google the dang thing. Like I could do with the Riello machine. It has something hooked into it which could be the gooseneck microphone or whatever is sticking out behind that fuzzball table on the left of the machine. This conference setup implies that whoever worked had to be able to quickly communicate with someone else. Whether this other entity was in the same building or not is unknowable to me. I can't say a lot about the server box. The cable management is quite messy and the door is open, which implies that someone had to access it so often that they couldn't be bothered to close it anymore. The room itself is quite weird. The architecture and aesthetic brings me this very strong Americana vibe. It's like the building was not meant for whatever this line of work is. The black hole and the red hole beneath the server box does imply some very quick and inelegant modifications made to the building in order to meet the requirements for whatever their work is. It's almost like they couldn't choose any actually suitable office spaces, so they had to set this thing up in someone's home, which implies criminal activity. Perhaps it was something related with drug trafficking? Or maybe some kind of a scam operation. All in all, I have hard time saying what this room actually is, if it even is real as Anon implies. I believe that this image is a psyop and I don't want to expend any more of my brain power into this.
Anyone else feeling some sort of timeline frickery right now? Reality is changing, not sure if for better or worse.
Nah, things have been trending towards these action points for some time now. It is actually really boring.
Alright Anons, I've come for my daily dose of scary stories. What do y'all got for me today?
Be me.
Good gravy, how terrifying.
Why was that in this archive? What was even the significance of that? Whatever. I can't freaking take it anymore. Some butthole schizophrenic gave me this book as a gift for fixing his bike on Tuesday, and since then I've burnt all my other books and almost jumped down the stairwell. I feel like I'm losing control of everything primal. He won't answer my calls now. It's not even a story, it's freaking poems, and they're starting to engrave themselves in my cortex like a cattle brand. All I want to do is read them, and light myself on fire. I'm going to burn it in my oven and have its ashes exorcised by a priest. Stay the frick away from this book, and don't accept gifts from bikers.
Can't find any info on the book or the writer anywhere other than its Amazon page, apparently published on the 1st of this year. Curious. And by curious I mean it's probably written by OP and he's guerrilla marketing it.
I don't know about the book, but I assume it drops red pills. Your words make me think you are having a battle in your mind, and you're in the process of breaking free from your conditioning. You could also be marketing this book. It kind of sounds like it. You know, only sub 120 IQs fall for these tactics.
Self-destruct sequence activated.